morning. I hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving and that you are recovering well from all the tryptophan you ate in the turkey. Today I am going to do a video on how to start a micro kitchen home bakery and talk about how I started my micro home bakery kitchen. So this may be a little bit long. I apologize for that, but there's a lot to talk about. So grab yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and enjoy this video with me, and I hope it helps you guys. Let's get into it. The first thing that you want to do is check with your local state and mostly your county, because that's where you're going to have to apply for your cottage license. And let's enjoy some coffee together because it is 9:10 a.m. and it's actually Thanksgiving Day that I'm filming this. I am by myself at the moment with some peace and quiet before I go to family's house, so I'm just sipping on some coffee and making this video for you guys, and I hope that it helps. So the first thing you want to do is, like I said, check with your state, or more so your county. So I'm in California, San Mateo County. So I went to the San Mateo County Health Environment website, and I ended up finding a phone number because the website was kind of confusing. The whole process of getting the cottage license, in my mind, before I started, was so complicated. Now, if you're new to my channel, I've been working professionally in kitchens for 20 years, and I quit my job 3 years ago and wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I had a surgery, recovered. When it was time to go back to work, I didn't know if that's what I wanted to do, if I even wanted to continue into my baking culinary field. But at some point I decided that I did miss it, but I didn't want to go back to work for somebody. So I decided to figure out how to get my cottage license. And for the longest time, I've always wanted to do that so that I could do it on the side while still working full time. But in my head, it was too complicated. I made it harder than it needed to be. So once I went to the county website and I got a phone number of someone to talk to, and the gentleman that helped me was super nice and helped me throughout the whole process. So basically, that's what I would suggest doing, because I don't know what your website is going to look like and how your county deals with these things. So see if you can reach someone from that department, and they will hopefully be as nice as the guy that helped me and help you through the process. So for me, I had to basically fill out a form stating what it was that I was going to be doing, whether it was cooking or baking or whatever. And in California, at least, there's two types of cottage license. There's a cottage A and a cottage B. Now, I chose cottage A for the time being because I'm just starting out. And what that means for me is I don't have to have the health inspector come. But with that being said, I'm limited on what I can sell. Everything has to be shelf stable and non-refrigerated foods. So I can't, unfortunately, for Thanksgiving and Christmas, sell any custard pies like pumpkin and things like that, which kind of sucks because that's what a lot of people love during the holidays. But I still have a ton of other options that I can sell. I made apple pies this year, blueberry pie, cherry pie, all the things. So there are still plenty of options. But that being said, that was cottage A license. Cottage B license, which means I believe that you can sell pretty much anything, even if it needs to be refrigerated. But once a year, you have to have the health inspector come and check your kitchen and make sure that you are within the guidelines and everything's good to go. And also, along with your cottage license that you get, you have to have at least a minimum, a food handler's card. I had still have the managerial food safe card. It's slightly different with more questions than the regular food handlers, but you need at least the basic food handler's card in order to get your license. Now, you don't have to have it beforehand, but I think you have, at least in California, I believe 3 months to obtain it, something like that. I can't remember exactly. But anyways, so back to the main point is check with someone from your county, health, environmental website, get a phone number, talk to them, and most likely it's probably going to be pretty much the same where you have to fill out the application. I had to pay a fee of a couple $100 maybe. You pay it every year. And then also they wanted to see sample recipes of what I would be selling so that they know that I'm within the guidelines of the Cottage A license that I obtained. So I sent the recipes, and I also had to send a sample food label. So for my food label, again, this may be different for your state and county, but my food label had to say that it was made in a home kitchen, what the name of the product was, all of the ingredients in it, and then any allergens. And it also had to say my name, my city, and the county that my license was obtained from, and they give you a permit number once you get your license. So you have to have all of that information, and it has to be in a certain order. So mine has to say made in a home kitchen at top, so that people are well aware that it is made in a home kitchen, not in a commercial kitchen. It has to say my name and like I said, my name, my permit number, the county, and I also put my email on there. I don't remember if that was required, but I figured that is a way that people can contact me if they see that on there. But I also have business cards that I pass out with every order, or when I'm doing events, etc. So that's also another way. So sending sample recipes, and then sending a sample label, and this is by email, and they will get back to you and approve or deny or tell you what you need to change, which is what they did. They approved my recipes; those were fine, but I had to make some changes in my label. So I did that. Everything was approved, and they finally sent me a letter in the mail and through email saying that I was approved and what my permit number was and all that stuff. So that is the first step, is to get your cottage license and go through your county where you live and get someone to help you with that. And then the next step is figuring out what you can and cannot sell with that license. Like I said, I cannot sell right now anything that needs to be refrigerated. So there are still tons of things that I can sell. At some point in time, I would like to get my Cottage B license, because not only do I bake, but like I said, I've been on the culinary side for 20 years with baking on the side. I do smoked meats. I do all kinds of stuff. So I would eventually like to do that. But you need to decide what you want to sell, whether it's baked goods or, culinary, savory foods, whatever it is. You need to decide and figure out what license is best for you. And then the next thing, you need to decide what you want to sell. Which is part of what I just said. But you need to figure out what you want to sell. Now, what I mean by that is, do you want to specialize in something? Like, I see a lot of people online specializing in just sourdough breads. That's all they sell. I didn't want to do anything like that, because I love all things baked goods. When I started my cottage business, I started off doing cakes, did a few orders of cakes, and then I created what I did. If you want to sell multiple items, what I did is created a basic menu, things that people can order constantly if they want to. But then on that form also, like more specifically with cakes, if someone wants a custom cake, they can mark the box custom cake and then describe to me what they want. And going on to that, I will make another video actually on that, so that this one isn't too crazy long, but I will make another video on my menu and how I take care of customers with that and getting them the menu and all that stuff. But anyways, make a menu. If you decide you want to sell more than just one item, And if you want custom items, you can do that too. Now, also, that would mean custom flavors, things like that. So create a small menu if you want to, and then, or figure out what your niche is going to be and focus solely on that. And then the next thing is going to be me. I already had tons of equipment because I was, like I said, I've been baking for 20 years. So I had a lot of equipment, but I can tell you, I've been doing this for just about a year now, and I can tell you that even though you have a lot of equipment, you're going to need more. And you're going to find out along the way what that is that you need, because I have bought several things, some expensive, some not expensive items for the bakery that make my life easier. Now, what I mean by that is I would take not necessarily shortcuts, but I would use tools that weren't necessarily specifically meant for a job and, to use for something else. And I would get the job done, but it would also make it a little bit more harder because I wasn't using the tool that was meant for the job that I was doing. So once I bought the tool that was meant for the job that I was doing, like an example would be, I call it a cake lifter. So it's like a big, huge spatula, like a big square kind of spatula with a handle. And when you cut your layers of cakes, you put it underneath one layer to lift it up. Because when you lift it by hand, your cake can crumble, right? Especially if it's a super moist cake. So things like that I didn't have before. I would just make do with tools that I had. But when you have the right tool, it makes the job easier. Now, you don't have to buy the most expensive. Like Amazon has tons of those for like $10, not a crazy expensive price. And then other Amazon sellers on there, I see for like $20. So is there really a big difference between the $10 and $20 one? Probably not. Mine was like $10, maybe even less when I bought it. So again, and the type of equipment you will need depends on what you plan on doing with your business, whether it's culinary or bakery. If you're like me and you're making a lot of baked goods, you're obviously going to need a mixer. If you haven't checked out my video, I got a Zacme mixer from someone off of Facebook, brand new in the box. You should go check that out. It's an awesome, amazing mixer, stand mixer. But again, you don't need to buy the most expensive mixer. I paid $300 for it off of, like I said, Marketplace, brand new in the box. And it was originally priced at $450 on Amazon. So again, you don't have to buy everything brand new either. You can search off of Marketplace. You can search off of Craigslist, OfferUp, all those websites. You don't need to buy the most expensive brand new item. That's another thing that will save you some money. So again, equipment depends on what kind of a business you're going to run with your kitchen. If you're doing sourdough bread, like I said, a lot of people were doing sourdough bread. You're going to need, and speaking of sourdough bread, you don't necessarily need those fancy proofing bowls that they have. I just use a metal bowl and put some plastic wrap over it and put it in a warm place and let it rise. Now, if you want those bowls, great, go ahead and get them. I know they're aesthetically pleasing, especially for people that are making videos, but if you're someone who's working on a budget, use a metal bowl, use anything you have around the house that will do the job. That's something that is not going to, I don't know enough about bread per se to know that if a proofing bowl is going to make anything rise faster. Does it keep it warmer? I don't know. If you're a sourdough person or if you know anything about breads, let me know in the comments, because maybe it will make the job easier. But in my experience, I've just used metal bowls. Next up, you want to, depending on what you are baking or cooking to sell, figure out how you're going to package it and get it to the customer. I started off with making cookies, going to events, and obviously I did cakes too, like I said, to sell to not at events but to customers. and I just had cake boxes. I had those from before. But if you're selling something specific, smaller, like I said, I was doing cookies at an event. I bought some plastic packaging. Maybe it's not plastic, or cellophane, I think it is. And you just slip the cookie into the packaging and then fold it over, and it has a little sticky thing on it. I thought they were so cute. They had little polka dots on it. You could still see through it. But when I packaged it, it did not look good. So you may not start off with the best packaging like me, and then work your way up and find out what works and what looks good, and go from there. Look at other people's packaging. That's kind of how I learned to up my packaging game, so to speak. So figure out what you're going to package in, and then when you're starting off, start small. Now, what I mean by that is, if you're someone that eventually wants to expand a menu and have big, more options and things like that, I would not recommend starting off like that. I would recommend starting off small and working your way up, because otherwise you are going to overwhelm yourself, especially if you're someone like me that has ADD, and has a hard time focusing. So start off small. If you're going to create a menu, just have, a few items that you're going to offer. And once your customers get to know you, you can, expand your menu once you get more people rolling in, because, it just, so start off with a small menu. Or like I said, if you're going to figure out what your niche is, your menu will be simple. It'll be 1 or 2 items, whatever it is that, you're the best at, and that no one else can beat, and you're the one to go to get that item. And then, like I said, later you can adjust your menu and make it better. And also the other thing is, when I go to events, if that's something that you plan on doing, like markets and things like that, I have only done, I think, 3 now in the year that I have opened up my cottage business, selling my baked goods. And I am making note of what sells and what doesn't, because if it doesn't sell, it's not something I want to waste my money making. Because the very first event I did was at outside of a mall, and the lady that was putting the event together, that organized it, I think it may have been her first time putting it together. I was told there was going to be, a couple thousand, if not more, people coming through this event. It was being held at a mall. And I also asked Google, because I had never done an event for that many people before. And Google said something about making about 500 to 1,000 pieces of dessert for 2,000 to 3,000 people. And I thought, oh my goodness, there's no way I'm going to do that much. So I ended up making less than that, but still I made way too much. I think I made 350 to 400 items of varying cookies and bars, and some cupcakes. And I had so much left over, it was not even funny. Now also, I think that had something to do with, like I said, the organizer kind of didn't seem like she knew what she was doing. When you're creating an event like that, no matter where it's located, you never want to put like-minded vendors together. So there was another baker right next to me. And to be honest, like I said, that was the first event I did, and my packaging was not good. I can say that now. If I have a picture, I will insert it above here so that you can see, because it was really horrible. And I'm not afraid to admit that, because that's how we learn and grow, is by realizing what is good and what isn't, or realizing our mistakes and improving from them and that sort of thing. So it was horrible. I look back at it now and I'm just like, I can't even believe that I did that. I just realized that I've got this green lighting on my neck. I apologize. I don't know if that's been there the whole time, but I've got lighting on me, so from outdoor. So looks like I got a little necklace. But anyway, so Yes, so my packaging was horrible. So figure out what that's going to be. And then the next thing, when you're taking orders from customers, not at events, but when you're taking orders from a customer, if they email you, text you, whatever it might be, this is what I do and this is what works for me. So I send them, unless they're if they haven't seen my menu and they're texting me or emailing me asking for something specific that may not be on my menu, that would be different. But if someone messages me and says, hey, I saw your ad on Facebook Marketplace, or I saw you on Nextdoor, I want to order a cake, or I want some brownies, or whatever it might be, what I do then is I respond to them based on what they want to order. I send them a attachment of my menu and ask them to fill out and check mark whatever it is they want, and to send it back to me. And then I ask them also what date they need it and what day they want to pick it up, or do they want it delivered. And that's another thing, is I charge a delivery fee if someone wants it delivered. If they're local, it would be maybe a $5-10 charge. Some of these people that charge like $30 delivery fee, I don't know if that's what most people charge, but I don't feel right charging that, especially if someone's ordering a cake for $60 and then I'm charging $30 delivery fee. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, that's just me. If it's local, I will charge maybe a $5-10 delivery fee, depending on how far they are. Even though they may be local, it could be a little bit of a drive. And if it's farther away, depending on where they live, will depend on the delivery fee. So I find out where they live first before I tell them the fee. But anyway, so I have them fill out the form, send it back to me, and then I will send it back with the pricing of how much it's going to cost so that they know. And then I let them know they need to sign at the bottom approving the order. And I tell them that they need to do a 50% deposit, non-refundable. And the reason why I do non-refundable is because I have seen so many people on YouTube and TikTok and all these people that are creating videos saying that they didn't take any money up front, and the person never showed up, and now the item is made and they're out all this money that they just created this item and wasted the money and no one paid for it. So especially with cake orders, I definitely take 50% deposit and non-refundable, because I don't want that happening to me, and I wouldn't want that happening to you either. So it doesn't have to be a 50% deposit, but so far I have had no issues with people paying 50% down. So you can do 20%, 30%, whatever it is you want, or some people even do 100%, especially if it's a cake. So that's up to you, but you need to take some sort of deposit so that you're not out all of the money if they don't show up. The next thing is, for me personally, I require, not with cakes, but any other baked goods, I require 2 days prior notice for ordering. When it comes to cakes, I require 3 days prior notice, because there's the baking of the cake. You have to let it cool. You have to make the frosting, the filling, all those things take account, and it takes, a few days to get everything prepared and ready to, and then you got to decorate the cake. That's the most time consuming part. So I always decorate the cake before the day before the pickup, because if I have any issues, I have time to hopefully fix the issue. Or like if you're baking a cake and for some reason it doesn't come out right, things happen. So I err on the side of caution, and I give myself plenty of time to fix any issues that may arise from doing that. And same thing with any other baked goods I order. I usually make it the day before that they're going to pick it up, so it's still fresh, but in case I have any issues, I can fix it. So that's another tip. If someone reaches out to me with a last minute order that is not within my ordering date range of what they're ordering, whether it's a cake 3 days in advance or any other baked goods 2 days in advance. If I have the time and I'm able to make it, I will do it, but I will charge a small extra fee for having like a rush order. So if they call me or text me an email the day before and they want it the next day or even that day, I will definitely charge an extra fee because you're having to rush to get it done. And if you're anything like me, sometimes when you're rushing, that's when mistakes can happen, and all of that sort of thing. So last minute orders, some people take them, some people say, nope, I can't do it. So that being said, I think that pretty much covers everything. If you guys have any more questions on something that maybe I didn't talk about or that I forgot to talk about, let me know in the comments down below. So as I was editing this video, I realized that there was two pretty big important talking points that I did not mention, so I'm throwing them in here now. The first one is, it's kind of a couple different things. Make sure anything you purchase that is for your business, whether it's baking supplies, whether it's ingredients, whatever it is, keep the receipts and make sure they are kept. I keep mine in like a little folding accordion plastic, like little box thingy. They're not necessarily organized by date or anything, that doesn't matter, but keep your receipts because you can write this off on your taxes. And then I also keep every order form that people give me because you want to track your income, how much money you are making from all of these orders. And when it comes to events, this is something I forgot to mention earlier as well, which is when I first started out doing this, I only accepted cash or Venmo. I invested in a little card reader. The one that I got is by SumUp. I chose that one specifically because I did a lot of research on all of these. Most of them take, if not all of them, take a percentage of your sales. Mine, I think, is 3%, something like that. But that being said, they do not require a monthly subscription to their service. And that is one of the main reasons why I chose them, because I don't want to have to pay for the service. Like Square chart, I think you have to have a service with Square, all these other, I can't even think of the other names, but anyways, I chose SumUp, and I will link their website down below if you're interested in checking them out. Not sponsored, by the way. This is just what I chose after doing all of the research, and trust me, I did plenty of research. I'm one of those that will research things to death before I purchase something because I want to make sure that I'm getting the best for what I'm needing. So SumUp is what I use. And then the next thing, like I said, keep your receipts for anything you purchased and make sure you keep your track of your income coming in. And that's the thing with SumUp. They all do this, but SumUp shows you your payment history of what people have paid you. And you can even send them either email or text receipts when they purchase something. So keep track of your spending and keep track of your income so you know how much money that you are actually making. I hope this video wasn't too long.
Oh, it was delightful.
So I think that I pretty much covered everything. If you feel I missed something or if there's any questions that you have, definitely leave them down below in the comment section and I will answer them to the best that I can. And I hope this helped you guys out and that you learned something from it. And I will say one thing. If you have fear of doing it, don't. Because I did, and I let that fear get the best of me. And I could have done this so much sooner than I did. And I didn't because I let the fear get to me. And I was overthinking it basically, thinking that it was going to be harder than it actually was. So if this is something that you want to do, first thing, number one, is just reach out to your county health department, and they will guide you through the process. That is the first most important thing to do. So I hope this video helped you guys. And again, let me know if you have any questions down below, and I will see you all later in the next one.